And hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Box Office Shuffle. It's time for season 2, episode 6. This week, we're talking about Annihilation from 2018. If you don't know what Box Office Shuffle is, if you're just stumbling through this on the algorithm, we're a podcast where the three of us take our physical media collections and we put them in a randomizer. And this week, Joe, one of our hosts, had this movie in his collection on a digital rip, and that's how we watched the movie. We're going to talk about it shortly. I'm one of the hosts, Thomas, aka Mr. Warburg. Alongside me, as always, is Chris, aka Gamma.
Yo!
And last but certainly not least is Joe, aka Joe.
What up?
Now, as I said, I actually don't know if I said this is from Joe's collection, and this is from your digital rip, a Blu-ray rip of the original disc that we're watching off your Jellyfin server, which worked flawlessly as usual. And then our next film will be from Chris's collection to round out the current rotation, and then we'll do another one, and we'll pick another host after our next episode for episode 7 and restart the rotation all over again. So this film, like I said, was from 2018. It was directed and I believe also written by Alex Garland, who's one of the more prominent sci-fi director-writers working currently. He's written a number of things. I believe one of his first big writing credits was 28 Days and Later, as well as Sunshine, and also Dread, which apparently he ghost directed. Carl Urban says Dread should be his first director credit, but it's not. Technically, that was Peter Travis, which is a different director. But those are three fantastic and very different types of science fiction, like genre content. And then he got his initial, like, official director's credit with Ex Machina, which was an AI story. Oscar Isaacs was one of the leads as well. And I actually have that in my collection, and I've also never watched that. And then
All right.
right after Ex Machina, he started working on Annihilation. Annihilation is based on a 2014 book, and then which would then spawn a trilogy written by Jeff Vandermeer. The first book was also called Annihilation, and the film rights were purchased before the book released. That was in like March of 2013 that Paramount bought the film rights. And this was only really loosely based on that book, mostly because Garland didn't really know it was going to be a trilogy, and he didn't read the prior two stuff while they were working on production and post-production. There happened to be some similarities with where he went with his story, but largely they went in very different directions. And obviously, this probably never going to get a sequel, which we'll get into very, very shortly. Before we get into box office and the initial cast and everything like that, all three of us, this was our first viewing, as we discussed before going into the movie, as well as I believe probably our couple of friends that joined us in our Discord server. What are your guys' general takeaways? Like, did you like it? Did you not? We all kind of came away with we don't know what we're going to talk about, general vibe.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean bad. It's a very odd movie.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys think it was a good movie? Good kind of odd? Like a thought-provoking odd? Or just altogether have a different take?
I'd say it was a thought-provoking odd. I'd go in that category. It's good, but in an odd stance kind of way. Because I overall enjoyed the movie quite a bit, but the art really kind of sold me on it. With like the pool scene where it kind of shows the body kind of exploded and kind of just, yeah, the body horror in this movie is actually quite good too.
Fair enough. Chris, what you got?
I think that this was we've already said it. It's a weird one. But I think its downfalls are in the fact that in stories you want there to be, of course, questions, and then you want to have answers to those questions, and then still leave questions out there to get people excited if they want to do more with it or whatever. I felt like this entire movie was just question after question after question with no answer to anything. That you don't... I think it plays into the movie itself, which is trying to go for there is no real answer to a lot of this stuff. that it's supposed to be psychologically horror-esque almost. But I just think that there, for me, I don't think it was a too bad of a movie. I wouldn't watch it again, but I'm okay having seen it. But it never answered any question that came up for me, in my opinion, at least.
Fair enough. I had a similar take. Like, it was an enjoyable movie. Like, I enjoyed the ride. It is not a ride I care to experience a second time.
Yep.
And I have a lot of that kind of cosmic horror is the same thing for me. Like, I'm not a Lovecraftian guy. I know some people that are. They absolutely love that shit. And, like, not pejoratively. Like, they love it. It's never really been my bag. Like, there's been some iterations of it that I really vibe with. I actually think a couple of those, who makes Until Dawn? That team
yeah.
did a love, like,
okay.
one with, like, an alien Cthulhu vibe to it.
Was that the one where it was like based on the army group?
Yeah,
or
that was that
whatever?
one, I think.
I never got through that one.
That was
But
enthralling.
they make great stuff.
Yeah. And I for me, like, Control has some similar concepts. I loved that game. And I think that might be a more of a medium, like, how the story's told thing for me. Like, putting me in the driver's seat of that with, as a game concept with the interactivity. Maybe changes how I interact with the concepts in a way that I like
maybe
more.
maybe it's because like in a movie you're at the whim of the storyteller, whereas in a game it makes you at least feel like you are the storyteller. So then you're able to look for whatever answers you want to look for and that kind of thing. So that totally makes sense to me. I totally get that.
Yeah. Because, like, I was reading a number of the summaries of reviews and such, and a lot of them reference, like, it feels like something very inspired by like a very old school called. Wait, no, I'm on the wrong one. This is the 2019 one. It's an original Lovecraft story, The Color Out of Space, which is by H.P. Lovecraft. It's from the late 1920s. That in of itself has been adapted a number of times. Most recently, actually, a Nicolas Cage adaptation from like 2019. It was actually just after this came out. I think it was like within 10 or so months. I remember. It's that one where he's like the color. They use a lot of purple in that movie. And it's like a horror movie where he's like this family guy on a farm and everything goes crazy because it's fucking Lovecraftian horror. And I don't think this is trying to go for a Color Out of Space, because obviously it's based on a book, which is not based on anything Lovecraftian. The guy who wrote it, Jeff Vandermeer, had done a number of like deep into like rainforests and stuff, like expeditions, and he had initially was starting to craft the story after like the horror of the Deepwater Horizon and like everything that happened with that ecologically, like what it did to the Gulf Coast. And like there were people like, hey, we might never be able to cap this thing. It might consume like the whole Gulf just might be oil eventually. Like that kind of stuff was the initial spawn for what became the story. And I was just as we were talking, it occurred to me we were talking Apple TV in the pre-show. This feels like a series that would be like adapt this story and the trilogy that were the books, put that on Apple TV. I'd be like, yep, that makes sense. This feels like their vibe. A little more horror bent than they usually do for their stuff, but like those kind of just weird sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
Feels like their bag. And I think a series based on this would be really cool, because then you could have more time to really sit with things. But as we're getting out of this era of peak TV and we're starting to contract budgets and, get rid of things on the production schedule, I don't know that would ever happen. Like it feels like if Paramount hadn't turned this into a movie, at the time they might have turned it into a series, because that was when the money spigot was, who gives a shit? Not the case right now, but just there's an interesting one. So some more facts and figures. As I said, it was directed by Alex Garland, based on a 2014 novel by Jeff Vandermeer. The box office, it made 43.1 million. Had a budget of 40 to 55 million. That's as wide as the range went, which generally, because of marketing and such, the budget's going to be a bit higher, maybe double. So it did not make its money back, other than the general production budget. It made its money back, but so we're likely never to get a sequel, even though there were 2 books that followed. The cast largely led by Natalie Portman. Oscar Isaac has a recurring role. Jennifer Jason Leigh plays the actual lead scientist. Benedict Wong is the interrogator, and I think his character would become something in the second book, but is largely just relegated to a background role here. Gina Rodriguez, this was in the middle of her filming Jane the Virgin, which is when I first discovered who she was. And then Tessa Thompson plays another scientist as well. And then there was another character, that Cassie Shepard, Tuva Novotny, Swedish name, so I'll probably just butchered the hell out of that. Those are the really only major roles to speak of, so it's a pretty tight cast. Anybody stand out? Obviously the lead being Portman. To you guys?
No. I mean, Natalie Portman, she's kind of, I don't know, she's the main lead and she stuck out to me the most.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I can't imagine being an actor in this movie.
Yeah, the concept is so weird. I don't know if everybody did a good job, you know? I don't know if they conveyed the right emotions, because I don't know what I was feeling the entire time. I maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but
yeah, I feel like there's a larger or longer cut of this that would have probably explained things just a little bit better. We only find out about the lead character dying, she's dying. Not the lead scientist that Jennifer Jason Leigh plays.
Yeah.
Her character's dying. They never say what of. The only person that ever tells us that is Benedict Wong's character in a question to Natalie Portman's character.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing in the text of the actual film beyond that would explain that. You know? Not that there really needs to be, because clearly the character is very driven and I'm going to do this one last thing. But she never really articulates that. Even really hints at it from my recollection.
Right.
But, maybe that is something that you're supposed to pick up on, but I didn't, beyond the overt question by Benedict Wong's character.
Because I thought her reason for going in there at first was she was upset that she sent so many people in there, and she felt guilt for sending so many people in there and them not returning, that she wanted to fucking see what was going on in there. So it's oh, okay, so that explains why she wants to go in there. But the real reason is she had cancer and she wanted to go in there and investigate and didn't have much time to live, maybe?
It's a change in motivation or something?
Yeah.
Or it's the writing of it just... It was meant to be the first one, and then later they had it be in a changed script while they were filming. It ended up being this, and they just forgot to ADR things or do reshoots of it, and it just...
I feel like with the
weird
concept of her having something like cancer and how it would react with the Shimmer would have been
right,
because everyone else was largely healthy, at least physically, going in.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that they could have explored, given that they're taking a different direction than the book ever did. Because I was reading the summaries of the books, and it's fucking wild shit at the end. I don't know how you would have filmed that. Maybe it's a good thing it will never happen, because I don't know how you do it. But that's also the challenge of filmmaking, is sometimes it's not going to work, and you got to try just to, on the off chance something crazy cool happens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just absolutely such a weird movie. Don't have any other words
really
than that. Yeah, I'm not going to add this to my collection I don't feel the need to do so. I'm glad we watched it though, which is one of the reasons this podcast exists.
I'm honestly glad we watched it because the art in that was fantastic.
The music
seeing
too.
that
The score
scene was incredible.
I was like, if I could get the concept art, I would probably be my cell phone background.
Yeah, the
The
concept
hand-drawn
art
art of that. Oh,
along with the score. It's
the
fantastic.
score was crazy.
Who did the
Especially
score?
when they finally get to the bottom of the lighthouse. That like really kind of shocked me. I was like, whoa, we're just total tone change in music down here.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so the film score is composed by Ben Salisbury and Jeff Barrow. They're a UK. No, that was the UK record company. Yeah. That the scene where I can't even describe what it turns into at the end where it was like the thing that interacts with the blood off her like nostril.
Yeah.
That track
like
is
the
just
doppelganger kind of thing.
But right before that, as the thing is like after the lady turns into light.
Oh,
the forbidden fleshlight.
Yeah,
honestly,
basically that.
I'll get you a picture of exactly what I thought when I started seeing it. But there's a Pokemon called Remora.
I was gonna say maybe like the planet killer from the original Star Trek. You guys would probably have no concept of that.
Yeah.
Basically, it's this giant fucking thing that like goes and eats planets in Star Trek.
That's what I thought of. I just sent it
Chris.
in the group chat.
I'll have to hang on. Let me get
It's
my
damn
phone.
close to that.
I can only look on it on my
Like
phone.
it just had that feel.
Yeah. Like that starts spurling and twirling and
Right.
gets a early 2000s.
I'll try to remember to put that on the screen.
But
music
like
screensaver vibe.
yeah, it was so
Let's see.
it was like a galaxy or
I
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what it was? It was a crazy CGI simulation that they had to render out. That's
Yes.
ridiculous.
So it looks like these guys are frequent collaborators of Alex Garland. They did Civil War. They did Ex Machina. They did a number of
Not
other...
Captain America Civil War.
No, the Civil War that came out last year.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think my guess would be, did they do War? No, it doesn't say they did Warfare, which is just out now that Alex Garland helped write.
Oh, is that okay? I've seen trailers for that, and I'm like, that looks intense.
Yeah, and I believe, I think was he the director or the writer? Let me go to the filmography. Warfare, yeah, he's director and writer. Alex Garland is for that.
Dang.
Yeah. So
That's good.
So he's kind of shifted into doing some more modern military stuff. But he also was the writer on the new 28 Years Later, which comes out later this year.
Oh, okay.
Which is, again, follow-up to 28 Days Later, which was the first movie he's credited as a writer on. 23 years later. But in universe, 28 years, I guess.
Imagine if he actually waited 28 years later.
That would have been amazing. They were so close.
I know. It's 50 more years, guys. Come on.
All right. Do you guys have anything else to talk about? This might be our shortest episode on record. I just don't.
Okay, have you guys ever heard of or seen the movie The Darjeeling Limited?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. So The Darjeeling Limited is crazy, and that the reason is Natalie Portman plays a very small role in that one.
Yeah, that's a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, and Bill Murray also plays a really small role in that. Kingpin.
Go on, Chris.
So that's our connection.
Yay!
One movie again. Just one.
Yeah.
Just one.
Just one, baby. Oh, fuck yes.
I looked up on the Oracle of Bacon, and I'm like, what the hell is this movie? I was like, I've never heard of this. Are these even words that exist together? Apparently. And very small role for both people, but they're in the movie.
Christ. Oh my god.
I love it.
So if you don't know what that is, people, that's because we're doing this bit, the connection of Kingpin.
Because Warburg loves it.
The degree of Kingpin, because in our first season run, we watched Kingpin, which was an absolutely objectively terrible 90s comedy.
So bad.
Awful movie.
Yeah.
And then it's become a recurring bit where we try to connect actors in the current film we're watching to that movie. How many degrees of separation are there, Kevin Bacon style? And I don't think we've ever gotten more than one. Because it all comes back to Kingpin. It's the center of Hollywood history.
It is.
Apparently. God, crazy. Mostly because Bill Murray was in it, I'm sure, as well as Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, Bill Murray and Woody Harrelson are the heavy loaders on the connections.
Yeah, maybe eventually we'll get to level 2, to 2 degrees of separation. But that will not be today. I'm switching over to our wheel spin screen. Let me go to the wheel. And there, it's spinning.
Yeah.
This is Chris's list. He has about 117 movies in it that I'm going to spin the wheel here very shortly. And we're going to pick one of his movies to round out our current rotation of hosts. So anything you're hoping for, Gamma? Anything you're like,
Okay,
I want to pull this now?
I'm hoping for one of two things. First of all, The Accountant 2 comes out later this month.
That's true.
So getting The Accountant right now would be so fitting. But also, I feel like we need a break from heavy loaded movies. I need an animated film.
Fair
That's
enough.
what I want.
Fair.
I'm looking at your list here. Trying to see here. Anything scrolling through? Across the Spider-Verse.
Across the
Something like that.
Spider-Verse movies, Monsters Inc., Monsters University, Coco. I just added Paranorman recently.
Yeah, I could see
some lighter themes.
Yeah, let's see what we get. Oh yeah, what we really need is the gray, something really lighthearted.
Oh yeah,
Really lighthearted.
Yes.
Really?
Liam Neeson, strapping on some glass bottles to go take on some wolves.
Oh yeah. Poetry.
Yeah, that movie's fucking
Depression.
depressing.
Yeah.
Saw it
The Departed.
when I was in
I
college.
love that movie.
Oh, don't get me
though.
wrong. It's a great
fantastic.
movie. It's heavy.
It's a
Anyway.
heavy movie, but a heavy movie that I actually will watch over and over again. I do love that movie.
Fair enough. Well, let's spin that wheel and let's see what we get. The wheel is spinning. It is starting to slow
Come
down.
on.
What do we have?
Lighter tones. Lighter tones.
No, it's animated, but I don't know. It's lighter tones. Toy Story 3.
Okay,
Well, we can
it
watch
at
one
least
then.
has some funny bits and such, so I'm good with that.
I
I'm
don't
good
think
with
I've
that.
ever actually watched Toy Story 3.
Really.
Oh,
By the
shit.
time it came out, I mean, when did Toy Story 3 come out?
That was probably 2011,
Wait, don't we have to watch number
2012? I don't have Toy Story.
It was
1.
2010.
Oh,
So I
okay.
was in college when that came out. Like, I was past the
Okay.
point of being... Like, you know what I mean? I was 20 back then.
Yeah.
Didn't really speak to me. But I've heard it's amazing. So I'm actually pretty excited.
This will be great. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to watch Toy Story 3 for our next film. Round out our current rotation. That'll be episode 7 in roughly 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Lastly, I suppose we should talk about scores. I didn't do that yet. I forgot to come back to that. If you guys had to score this movie, we're going to go back to talking about Annihilation very briefly.
Yes.
What would you give it?
I'm gonna give it a 4.
Out of
I
5?
enjoy it quite a bit. Yeah, out of 5.
Yeah.
Because it
Oh, out
reminds you
of
of like
5?
Out of 5.
Yeah,
We're doing the letterbox
Ooh,
scale.
okay.
So it'd be, 4,
Yeah.
4.5,
Gotcha.
5.
because it feels like a come to life like SCP. I like those stories.
I would
Those are-
probably give it 2 or 2.5. Watchable, but only once.
Honestly, I think I'm with Chris there. I think I'll just split the difference and say 2.5 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that tracks for me. Like,
So that
Enjoyable.
averages for the three of us. It averages a 3 then. 2.5, 2.5, and 4.
yes, that makes 9.
And divide
Correct.
that by 3.
You're doing the
Yeah.
math right.
Hate did math.
But I don't know if I would give this the on Letterboxd.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Like I've watched
It's a
threes.
2.5. I understand the artistic approach behind it. I don't think it was a poorly made movie. Just not a movie that I enjoy enough to give it a like.
Fair enough. But Joe, you would like it. You'd give it.
Yes,
that
I
like
do.
rating.
I would like it. 100.
Fair enough.
Do you think you'll watch it again?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Like if I just
Warburg, you?
No, probably not.
Okay. It's just like a if it's on kind of thing, Joey.
if I press randomizer on Jellyfin and it pops up, I'll be excited to watch it again.
Cool.
Like I'm not seek it out randomly.
Like this
Right.
could be one I'd be like, you know what? I want to watch a video essay of it. Like have somebody break it down.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
I'd be down for that. But that'd be the only way I'd
Yeah.
want to consume this movie again. Some kind of thing along those lines. So maybe in your guys' YouTube recommendations, if you're seeing those along the side content, if you're on desktop, maybe click on those because I'm sure it'd be enjoyable. Well, we're gonna get out of here for a roughly 22-ish minute episode, give or take.
That's got to be our shortest.
Definitely in the running if it's not the shortest. And again, not because this is like sucked. It's just I don't know where to take the conversation. Like, this is a challenge as a host.
Yeah.
We could either talk about it for hours and hours and like theorize things, or we can leave it as is and just go on with our lives.
And I vote for the latter.
I agree. For a 2.5 star, I'm gonna go with the former.
Yeah, I
Or
agree.
the latter. Yeah.
I agree. So join us in 2 weeks if this kind of conversation's your thing, where we're going to talk about, something about another existential horror movie, but like for kids. We're going to watch Toy Story 3. See you around.
Yeah.
Bye.
Can't wait to watch Buzz Lightyear on Factory Reset.
That means nothing to me right now.
You're gonna understand. You're gonna understand.